Welcome everybody. We are discussing the chapter The Living World, chapter 1 of class 11th biology. And part 1 we have already discussed. And today we are going to discuss the part 2. And before that, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and like the video and please share this video. So let us start this part 2. Before that, let me tell you what we have studied so far. So we have studied of two taxonomic hierarchy. And in this part, we'll discuss about the taxonomical aids. We'll discuss various taxonomic aids like herbarium, botanical gardens, museum, zoological parks, key, then flora, manuals, monographs. So what are taxonomical aids? You know what is taxonomy? It is the study of classification, identification and nomenclature. So, how to study the organism? That is called taxonomy. But for this, the identification, then naming the animal and then classifying in proper group is very essential. But suppose say you want to study the habitat, feeding habit of a particular organism, then how can you study that? So, there are several types of taxonomical aids which help us to gather the data, to get the data about the particular species. Okay. So, articles helpful in correct identification and classification of organisms are called taxonomical aids. So, as I told you that already those organisms or those species are identified, they are classified and their features are already written. And if we will go through these articles, then we can know about that particular species as well as the related species. So such articles which are helpful in correct identification and classification of organisms are called taxonomical aids. So the taxonomical aids are of different types. So here you can see botanical garden, manual, flora, keys, zoological park, museum, monograph, herbarium. So these are several types of taxonomical aids. So for the reference, we can select any of these depending upon the type of species we are studying, whether it is plant or it is animals. For animals, we can go for zoological park. For plants, we can go for botanical garden. Similarly, for plant species, we can go for herbarium. Okay. For animals, we can go for museum. So, for different groups of organism, we can refer different taxonomical aids. So, these are the different types of taxonomical aids. So, let us discuss one by one. The first one is herbarium. What is herbarium? Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, pressed and preserved on sheets. Okay. So here what is done? The plant species are collected, then they are dried in a very specific manner. Okay. So that there will be no fungal infection. Okay. And then it is pressed in between two papers. Then it is preserved on a sheet. I'll tell you the different steps of this herbarium, how to prepare a herbarium. Even you can prepare a that is a herbarium at your own level. Okay. So these after preparing these seeds, the plant are preserved on the seeds, and then these seeds are arranged according to a universally accepted classification system. So you cannot arrange these seeds randomly. You have to arrange it in a universally accepted classification system. Okay, and this herbarium can be used as a ready reference in scientific studies. Suppose a scientist or suppose a person who is doing research on biodiversity, okay, and he wants to know the features of a particular species or any related species, then he can directly go to the storehouse where the seeds, these preserved seeds, herbarium seeds are preserved, and it is the codings are there, as in your library the codings are there. So as for that code, he will select that particular book, and in that book several seeds are there in which they are as per the classification system they are arranged, and then they can refer as per their requirement. Okay, now let us see what are the steps of preparation of herbarium. So first step is collection of a plant species. Okay, so in what way we have to collect? The plant should be collected along with its flower or fruits. Okay, because from flower we can identify the family, and flower is the most important part which tells about its reproductive features. Okay, so that's why the plant should be collected in such a way that the flower or the fruits are intact. If the flowers are of bigger size and fruits are of bigger size, then we can collect the flower and fruit separately. Okay, so after that, what is the next step? Documentation of field site data. So while collecting the specimen, certain data are to be recorded at the time of collection. So what are these data? That data includes date, time, country, state, city, and specific locality information. Okay, like it is whether it is this plant which you have collected is aquatic or terrestrial or xerophytic, डेजर्ट में है या आपका मेजार्स लैंड में है या फिर ये वाटर प्लांट है. सो एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन उसका कलेक्ट करना जरूरी है, सो दैट यू कैन नो अबाउट इट्स हैबिटेट. ओके, सो you have to keep a record of that one. Okay, so landmark information should be there. Then why this should be collected? Because these data will be typed onto a herbarium label. So after preparation of the herbarium, on the herbarium label, these things are to be typed. Okay, so after that, preparation of plant specimen. Now we have collected the plant. If it is a small plant, then the whole plant can be collected, and if it is a big plant, then we can collect its different parts separately. Okay, so now the plant specimen which is collected from the field is pressed immediately with the help of a portable field plant press. So एक प्लांट प्रेस होता है, आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पर एक डायग्राम है आपका ऊपर, सबसे ऊपर है ये जो है आपका, you can see here. So these are called plant press. But at home, if you want to prepare, then just simply take newspaper, old newspaper. In between these newspaper, you keep the plant specimen. Okay. Then the plant specimen is transferred to a standard plant press. So this is a standard plant press. Okay, which size is always fixed, and it is that is here you can see there is a frame, so it should be kept in between the frame. Okay, now after the plant specimen is pressed, the mounting is required. So uh, for scientific purpose, the standard size of herbarium sheet is maintained, and that is your 29 centimeter into 41 centimeter for mounting the specimen. Okay. Now after drying the specimen is to be affixed to the herbarium sheet with the help of a particular type of glue or solution of methyl cellulose. So these glues should be used so that no fungal infection will be there. Okay. Now next, herbarium label. Now herbarium label size is also fixed. That is 4 to 5 inch wide and 2 to 3 inch tall. A typical label contains all informations like habit, habitat, vegetation, landmark which we have already collected, uh, which we have recorded at the time of collection of the plant species. Now here you can see this is a herbarium sheet. Okay, so here it is bigger size, so that's why you can cut the different parts of the plant and you can dry it and you can paste it in the on a herbarium sheet. So now the plant part is here, a twig is pasted here. Now here it is the label of the herbarium. So this contains the that is exact habitat and landmark and also the vegetation type. So every data regarding this particular species is labeled here. Okay. After that, the most important step is protection of herbarium sheets against mold and insects. Often what happens, insects eat or they damage the herbarium, that is the plant parts. Okay. So this can be preserved and protected by applying 2% of mercury chloride. Naphthalene, yeah, as you know, naphthalene is a that is your insect repellent. DDT is also an insect repellent. So these type of chemicals can be sprayed on the seed so that it cannot be destroyed by any insects or any microorganisms. Okay. So here you can see very clear picture of herbarium. Here there are see, you can see these two species are closely related species. Okay. So here the details. This is called herbarium label, herbarium sheet label. So here the details about the landmark, habits, habitats of this particular species is given. Okay. So what is the uses of herbarium? Herbarium provides resource materials for systematic research and studies. Because systematically we have arranged the specimen, that's why it is very helpful for systematic research and studies. And it is a place for orderly arrangement of voucher specimen. So let me tell you what is voucher specimen. Voucher specimen are the sample specimen which serves as a reference for comparing doubtful newly collected fresh specimen. So suppose you have collected a fresh specimen and you are in doubts about its classification, exactly in what location or in which order it is to be placed. If you are confused, if you are in doubts, then there are certain sample specimens in the herbarium sheets. So you have to match the features of this particular specimen which you have collected with the sample specimen. Okay, and after matching that, it will be easier for you to arrange the location of the specimen which you have collected in while arranging the sheet, herbarium sheet. So voucher specimens are nothing but the sample specimen which are taken as a reference. Okay. So this voucher specimen plays a role in studies like floristic diversity, like floral diversity, environmental assessment. Suppose say you want to assess the habitat of a particular specimen, then you can refer this voucher specimen, because below that voucher specimen the labeling will be there. So from there you can assess. Then ecological mechanism and survey of unexplored area. Okay, so that will be helpful for us. The next, herbarium also provides opportunity for documenting biodiversity and studies related to field of ecology and conservation biology. So unless and until you discover any species and classify it now and name it, you cannot know about its importance. Okay, so its ecological importance, its medicinal value, everything are recorded. Okay, then only we go for conservation. Okay, so these herbariums are very important uh, in giving the data regarding a particular species, so that we can document and also related to the field of ecology. It is helpful because we can study about the biodiversity. Huge number of species are there, so we can know about them. And also conservation biology, why we should conserve this, what is their importance, that we can know. Okay, now the next taxonomic aid is botanical gardens. So it is the collection of various living plant species in the form of garden for identification purpose. So you might have observed, most of you have seen visited the botanical gardens. I'll show you some locations, some botanical gardens of India. So these botanical gardens are, it is created artificial. Okay, so here living plant species are living plant species, but in herbarium what we are preserving, the dead plant species we are collecting, drying, then we are preserving. But in the botanical garden the living plant species are preserved. Okay, they are conserved. Okay, so this is the most important difference between a herbarium and the botanical garden. Both are applicable for plant species, but in herbarium we are preserving the dead plants, but here the living plant species are collected and they are conserved in a in a natural habitat is created for them, and then it is referred for identification. Okay, so for example, Royal Botanical Garden at Kew, England, Indian Botanical Garden, it is located in Howrah. Most of you might have been visited this place particularly, and this is National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow also. So there are several botanical gardens in our country, and for the purpose of science and education, the first garden was maintained by Theocrates. This is very important. You have to remember, for the science and educational purpose, the first garden was maintained by Theophrastus. Okay, and in his public lecture hall at Athens. So you have to remember this scientist botanist's name. Okay, and the first modern botanical garden was established by Luca Ghini, a professor of botany at Pisa, Italy in 1540. Now here you can see the botanical gardens of our country. Here, the National Botanical Garden, Lucknow, it is located. The location is also given. So it was established in 1948. Okay, and there are about 500 species of tree are there. Okay, and 500 species of rose hybrids are there. And the major attraction is the germplasm collection and ex situ conservation. इसका मतलब क्या है मैं समझा देती हूँ. Germplasm means anything, any part of the plant that can be collected to preserve the genetic material and to grow the next generation are called germplasm. जैसे हम सीड कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, that is also a germplasm. Okay, किसी का फ्रूट कलेक्ट भी हम ड्राई करके रख रहे हैं, so that is also germplasm. And we are collecting and conserving ex situ. Ex situ means other than their natural habitat. तो obviously हम germplasm को ex situ conservation ही कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर. So it is the major attraction of this particular botanical garden of Lucknow. Then come to this JNTBGRI, that is Thiruvananthapuram, that is Kerala. It was established in 1979, and what is its importance? That is, it conserves tropical plants, and especially the genetic resources are there. Okay, and it conserves 4,000 species of flowering plants and 300 species of non-flowering plants. And what is the major attraction? Major attraction, bamboo setum. So bamboo family का जो bamboo category का 69 species आपको देखने को मिलेगा. ठीक है. Then come to your the national orchidarium. Okay, so this is located in Yerkaut, that is established in 1963, and it is maintained by the Southern Circle of BSI, Botanical Survey of India, and it comprises of 3,000 trees and 1,800 shrubs, and its major attraction is insectivorous plants. So how amazing this is. Then next come to, this is the very common and biggest one, that is your AJCB, Indian Botanical Garden, Kolkata. So it was established in 1786 by Lieutenant Colonel Robert Kitt, and it is the largest and oldest. You have to remember this one. It is the largest and oldest botanical garden of India. It comprises of, it conserves 15,000 species of plants, and major attraction is the Great Banyan Tree, which is more than 500 years of age. And for your there is you will be amazed to know that the each root that hangs from its branch looks like the stem of a tree trunk. Okay, so you will be confused which one is the real tree trunk, the main tree. Okay, so now, so this is the Great Banyan Tree. So can you tell? So all these are the roots. These are the all the prop root. They are hanging from the horizontal branches. But each and every root seems like a tree. Okay. So this is the uh, uh, attraction, major attraction of this particular garden. Okay. Now, role of botanical garden. As you know, the garden always gives aesthetic value, which attracts a large number of visitors. For example, जो मैंने आपको बताया, Great Banyan Tree, Ficus bengalensis, in the Indian Botanical Garden at Kolkata. It is the major attraction. उसको देखने के लिए काफी सारे टूरिस्ट आते हैं वहां पर. Gardens have a wide range of species and supply taxonomic materials for botanical research. So, whenever you visit any botanical gardens, you will see that there is a level on the tree, each and every tree or plant. Okay, so and their data, their records, the documentation is kept in the office. Okay, so this garden is used for self-instruction or demonstration purpose. Suppose say I want to demonstrate you a particular species, plant species. Then you can you can be brought to that near that living plant, and it can be a live demonstration. Okay, it can integrate information of diverse fields like anatomy, embryology, phytochemistry, cytology, physiology, and ecology. Anatomy, that is internal structure. Embryology, its development. Then phytochemistry means chemical products of the plant. प्लांट से क्या क्या chemical products मिलता है. Then cytology, how is the cell structure and what different function of different types of cells located in different parts of the plant. Then it's physiology, different functions of this one, and ecology. It also acts as a conservation center for diversity, rare and endangered species. Okay, you know what is endangered species? Endangered species are those species which are at the verge of extinction. So, these types of plant species are conserved here, and it also offers annual list of available species and a free exchange of seeds. So seeds are the germplasm. These germplasms can be collected and they can be exchanged. Like in our country, we have a particular seed. We reach in a particular plant seed germplasm. So that can be exchanged with other parts of the world or other part of the country also. And it also gives information about method of propagation, sale of plant materials to the general public. So as I said you, that is phytochemistry, that from plants we are getting latex, resin, gum, honey also sometimes we are getting. So all these plant products are sold, and plant materials are also sold to the general public. And that is we can also know the method of propagation, how to propagate a plant, a particular species, कैसे grow करना है. If you want to grow in your garden, then how can you grow that? That is also taken care of. Okay, now next is museum. So museum is basically it is the collection of preserved plant and animal specimens. So it is both for plants and animals, but mostly it is made for animals only. And here, like as I said in herbarium, the dead plants are preserved. Here, similarly, the dead animals are preserved, and dead plants are also sometimes preserved. So, how they are preserved? The preservative used is a solution that is 40% formalin. That is 40% formaldehyde, which is called formalin. Okay. So, in that formalin, the uh, plant species and animal species are preserved. And the specimen may also be preserved as a dry specimen. Previously, in school, we are having these stuffed animals, but nowadays, as per instruction of CBSE, we have all removed these things, and we have handed over it to the forest department. So nowadays, it is not possible for everybody to see these stuffed animals, stuffed large animals, and insects also. But if you visit museum, definitely you can find that. Uh, Even the skeleton of animals may also be preserved in the museum. So by looking at the skeleton, you can have an idea about the structure of or the shape of the body of that particular animal. Okay, and it is used as actual material for study and identification. So here you can see these are the stuffed animals. देखो ये बड़े बड़े animals हैं यहाँ पर. You can see this is a museum. Here all animals are kept. Okay, so here they are stuffed. Stuffed means what? Their muscles are removed from their body, making a hole. Then some chemicals are put inside it, and they are treated with some chemicals so that their body will not get damaged or decomposed, and they will look lively. Okay, so these are the stuffed animals. You can see these are all real animals which are stuffed and preserved here. Next is for animal zoological park is there. So it is a place where wild animals are kept in a protected environments under human care. Uh, so this is not the natural habitat of the organism. So this is a protected environment. It is protected by um, some boundaries or some barriers are there, and it is protected from all sides, and the animals are kept um, in it, and often the visitors visit to see these animals, to enjoy their activities, and so sometimes the animals which are not available in our locality are also brought from other locality and kept in this zoological park, so that we can know their about that particular animals. Okay, so here some examples are there, just like Alipur Zoo in Kolkata, West Bengal, National Zoological Park in New Delhi. So these are the zoological parks. And what is its use? This is also, as I said, these are all taxonomical aids. So used as aid to learn about food habit and behavior life cycle. So when since they are in a protected area, so very keenly you can observe their behavior and the life cycle. How do they reproduce? What is their behavior? And sometimes some animals are seasonal breeders. So when they are seasonal breeders, how they are behaving during that particular season. Okay, and their food habit also we can learn. So here this is a zoo, and I think all of you have seen a zoo, visited a zoo. So nothing more to say about the zoo. Now next one is key. So there are different types of key. Okay, so this is the taxonomical aid based on contrasting characters called as couplet. So I will tell you what is couplet. I'll give you some examples so that you can understand. So for the timing, just remember that they are based on contrasting characters called as couplet, and couplet has two opposite statements, and each statement is called a lead. Okay, and separate keys for separate taxonomic categories needed. So for different categories, like for reptiles, suppose say mammal, I have to identify. Under mammal, there are different types of primata and non-primates are there. So for mammal separate key, for reptile separate key, or sometimes for all coded separate key. So different types of keys are there. Key is not a very small topic; it is a very big topic, but for whatever is suitable for your level, that only I am discussing. So it is very useful to classify the organism. Okay, so here I am showing you one key. Okay, so we have so many vertebrates. Okay, so but we have to find out what exactly the animal is. Then what we have to do? This is a key. This is the key. The whole thing is the key. तो अभी जैसे मैं आपको बताऊं, आपके पास चाबी का एक बंच है और एक ताला है। ताला खोलने के लिए कौन सा चाबी है, आप कैसे करोगे? सो आप एक एक चाबी से ट्राई करते रहोगे। ये हुआ, इसका शेप, चाबी का शेप ऐसा है, ये ताला के साथ ये मैच करेगा या नहीं करेगा? कर रहा है, ठीक है, आई विल ट्राई दिस। अगर नहीं कर रहा है देन आई विल नॉट ट्राई। ओके, तो ऐसे करके कुछ चाबी आप रिजेक्ट कर देते हो, और उसमें से जो चाबी आपको लगता है कि दिस इज सुटेबल टू द दिस पर्टिकुलर लॉक कैन बी ओपन बाय दिस पर्टिकुलर की, देन you try those keys. So similarly, here we are uh, using some statements. Okay, so that is known as the contrasting statements are called couplet, and that is each statement is the lead. Okay, so let me uh, give you one example. So here so many vertebrates are there. So now what is the character given here? Does it have fur? There is a question. So you have these animals. Now you have to observe these animals and you have to identify this. आपको इसमें से कौन सा एनिमल क्या है आइडेंटिफाई करना है, ठीक है। हम जानते हैं इसीलिए हम बता देंगे कि ये मामल है, ये बार्ड है, रेप्टाइल है। अदरवाइज एक लेमैन जिसको एनिमल के बारे में कोई ज्ञान ही नहीं है, क्लासिफिकेशन के बारे में कोई ज्ञान ही नहीं है, सो हाउ दैट पर्सन कैन आइडेंटिफाई दिस। तो अभी देखो क्वेश्चन ये है आपका, वहां लिखा रहेगा डज इट हैव फर। आप देखोगे फर है क्या? यस, अगर फर है और वर्टिब्रा है, वर्टिब्रल कॉलम मतलब देयर कोडेड, हम इससे पहले पढ़े थे, फर्स्ट पार्ट में पढ़े थे। तो अगर वर्टिब्रेट है, उसका फर है, फर मींस हेयर्स ऑन द स्किन, तो बॉडी में जो हेयर होता है, अगर है तो डायरेक्टली हम आ गए कि दैट एनिमल इज मामा, ठीक है। अगर नहीं है तो फिर हमको और कितने सारे क्वेश्चन फेस करना पड़ेगा। अभी देखो, अगर ये चाबी से खुल गया तो ठीक है, चलो इसका चाबी ये है, ये मामल है। अभी इस चाबी से खुल नहीं रहा है, तो अभी देखेंगे हम डज इट हैव फेदर्स, ये वर्टिब्रेट है, फर नहीं है, लेकिन फेदर है क्या? सो फेदर अगर है तो हम कंफर्म हो गए कि ये बर्ड है, ठीक है। अगर फेदर नहीं है फिर हमको और कुछ क्वेश्चन का सामना करना पड़ेगा। सो वर्टिब्रेट है, फर नहीं है, फेदर भी नहीं है, देन उसमें हम दो चीज देखेंगे, ड्राई स्किन है या मॉइस्ट स्किन है। इफ द एनिमल इज हैविंग ड्राई स्किन देन दैट इज रेप्टाइल, एंड इफ इट इज having moist skin, again there are two questions। moist skin में आपका फिश भी हो सकता है, amphibians भी हो सकता है। now the organisms which are having moist skin, if they have scales, अगर स्केल है तो फिश है, अगर स्केल नहीं है तो amphibians है। so in this way you could identify the mammal, birds, reptiles, fish and amphibians. So this is a type of simple key which I have given here. So there are different types of keys. Okay, and this is the simple one in the, so the details of this is not there, but still then I have told you, explained you little bit. Now the next is flora. It is the actual account of habitat and distribution of plant species in an area. So suppose say I see there are some protected areas where the plants are conserved. Okay, so even the forests are also conserved. Like yours, if you go to sanctuaries, like wildlife sanctuaries. So in sanctuaries, not only the animals, along with the animals, the plants are preserved, the plant products and the culture and tradition of the people living there, everything are conserved. Okay, so flora is the taxonomic aid which gives the actual account of habitat. प्लांट का हैबिटेट क्या है एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ प्लांट स्पीसीज इन एन एरिया, उस एरिया में कितने स्पीसीज है and in which part of that particular area how many species are there. So that idea can be obtained from flora. Next is manual. It has a description of species in an area. Okay. So it is used for getting information for the identification of names. So here एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में एक स्पीसीज का डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखा जाता है, ठीक है. एंड suppose say you want to know the name of that particular species, then you have to go through those descriptions. ओके आपने देखा होगा ये जो है आपका कभी कभी आपका जो जू होता है या फिर बॉटनिकल गार्डन होता है वहां पर आपका एक लेवल होता है, उस लेवल में पूरे डिटेल्स लिखा रहता है, डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखा रहता है अबाउट दैट स्पीशीज. उस पर्टिकुलर एरिया में उस स्पीशीज के बारे में लिखा रहता है. सो सिमिलरली मैनुअल्स आर आल्सो द डॉक्यूमेंट्स which contains the information for the identification of names. So these are the documents or the articles written which contains the data regarding different species in different areas. Now the next one is monograph. A monograph is a complete global account of a taxon or any rank. Rank, you know, that is family, genus, species, order, class, division. These are the rank. तो पूरा ग्लोबल अकाउंट पूरा वर्ल्ड में जितने सारे फैमिली, सपोज से हम फैमिली लेंगे टैक्सन, तो कितने फैमिली है, कौन से फैमिली में कितने प्लांट है, एक फैमिली के अंडर कितना जीनस है, कितने स्पीसीज है. सो ऑल दीज डाटा एट ए गिवन टाइम, इसका टाइम फिक्स होता है, जैसे आपका सेंसस होता है. सेंसस में क्या होता है, हम एवरी 10 ईयर्स में आपका काउंटिंग होता है, उसका अकाउंट रखा जाता है. उसी तरह मोनोग्राफ में एक स्पेसिफिक टाइम होता है, उस टाइम पीरियड में दैट फैमिली, जीनस या फिर कोई पर्टिकुलर रैंक का ग्लोबल अकाउंट को कहा जाता है monograph. Okay, so this includes the existing taxonomic knowledge and all relevant information about the group concerned as anatomy. मान लो हमने एक फैमिली लिया, तो उस फैमिली के अंदर जितने सारे स्पीशीज होंगे उसका हर एक डाटा मोनोग्राफ में होता है. एनाटोमी, बायोकेमिस्ट्री, पैलिनोलॉजी, क्रोमोजोम नंबर, फाइलोजेनी, उसका इवोल्यूशनरी रिलेशनशिप, हर एक चीज उसमें होता है. एंड इट आल्सो इंक्लूड्स एक्सटेंसिव लिटरेचर रिव्यू, ऑल नोमेनक्लेचरल इंफॉर्मेशन, कैसे नाम दिया गया, उसका क्या है, वो क्या नाम है, जीनस क्या है, स्पीसीज क्या है, ऑथर कौन है, आइडेंटिफिकेशन की, आप कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करोगे उसका की, ठीक है, हर एक टैक्सा के लिए की. जैसे हमने अभी आपको बता दिया एक एक क्लास बता दिया मामल, तो उसी तरह आपका जीनस के लिए कोई की होगा, स्पीसीज के लिए कोई की होगा. सो इन दैट वे every data is kept and the specimens are examined and their citations are written. The details, brief description of that particular specimen is written and the distribution map is also given. वर्ल्ड वाइड पूरा ये ग्लोबल लेवल पे कहाँ पर कौन सा स्पीसीज ये होता है पूरा मैप के साथ दे दिया जाता है, पूरा लैंडमार्क के साथ दिया जाता है. ओके, सो दिस इज monograph on Solanum. So Solanum, what is Solanum? Solanum is a genus. So under Solanum, the number of species, whatever species are there, their details are present, are documented here. So this is not only of India, worldwide, global level का सारा documentation यहाँ पर है. Okay, so this is all about your taxonomic aid. Even though it is deleted, but I have explained it because sometimes you are asked to prepare herbarium for your taxonomic, that is your practical purpose or project purpose, so that will be helpful for you. But for your entrance, this is not deleted, it is deleted only for your CBSE. So please go through this. And again, once again, thank you all for watching my video. Thank you.